Welcome, everyone. Today we're walking through the School Readiness SR program and the SR provider contract, what it requires, what it protects, and how to stay in full compliance while delivering high-quality care. The School Readiness program helps families achieve financial self-sufficiency while ensuring children receive high-quality early learning experiences. Providers play a critical role in preparing children for success in school by delivering developmentally appropriate care and services. Program integrity is important in everything we do. We are to deliver child care assistance fairly and accurately. This means we comply with federal and state requirements. What is program integrity? Ensures the appropriate use of federal and state funding, including serving eligible families, contracting with eligible providers, minimizing waste, fraud, and abuse, encompasses both intentional and unintentional errors. An example of intentional error is fraud. An example of unintentional error is a data entry mistake or incomplete documentation. Let's look at program integrity in more detail. There are 5 key elements. We'll begin with 4 on this slide. How to assure program integrity. Fiscal management. Have processes for sound fiscal management. Fraud detection and prevention. Identify and address fraud. Improper payment reduction. Reduce these types of payments. Eligibility verification. Document and verify eligible children, providers, services, and payments. Remember that fraud is an intentional error. This could look like billing for children who don't exist, or for always perfect attendance for every child. Improper payment might happen when there are incomplete documents. This could look like missing absence notes. And here's the 5th element of program integrity. Remember the slide, What is Program Integrity, a couple slides back? It said that appropriate use of funds is important, right? How do we confirm that everyone is using funds appropriately? That's right, through monitoring. Program integrity, including monitoring, happens at every level, local, state, and federal. How to assure program integrity continued. Monitoring and oversight. Local. Early Learning Coalitions monitor providers. State. The Division of Early Learning monitors coalitions. Federal. The Department of Health and Human Services monitors the Division of Early Learning. Monitoring includes desk and on-site reviews, quality assurance, and corrective action. We'll discuss this in more detail later during this orientation. Purpose of the SR contract. Agreement between the provider and its local Early Learning Coalition, ELC. Ensures eligibility to participate in the School Readiness SR and SR Plus programs. Valid for 1 fiscal year. Covers the delivery of SR services to eligible children. The purpose of the SR contract is to formally outline the requirements, responsibilities, and standards that a provider must follow to participate in the SR program. Providers are eligible for reimbursement for SR services only after full contract execution and for the term of the contract. SR contracts are not transferable. A change in ownership requires execution of a new contract. As an SR provider, you are responsible for ensuring children receive safe, nurturing, and high-quality care. Accurate record keeping, collaboration with early learning coalitions, and clear communication with families are essential for program integrity and compliance and child success. The remainder of this orientation focuses on the SR provider contract. These laws and rules govern all provisions in the contract. They ensure consistent implementation statewide and aligns to federal regulations. They include Child Care and Development Fund. 45 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 98 and 99. Florida Statutes for the SR Program. Chapter 1002, Florida Statutes, Part 6. SR Rules. Chapters 6M-4 and 6M-9. Florida Administrative Code. SR eligible providers. Here are the entities that qualify as either a private provider or a public school provider. These requirements ensure providers meet safety, integrity, and quality standards. They're non-negotiable. Your responsibilities fall into these major categories. We'll unpack each one so you know exactly what to expect. Note, the topic of documentation covers attendance, copayment, and other reimbursement-related documentation, as well as SR child records. You can only serve children who have an active child care payment certificate. This protects you from providing a child care services that will not be reimbursed. Note, a multi-site provider must serve SR children at the physical location/building authorized for care on the child care certificate. If you enroll a child without a certificate, or with an invalid certificate, or enroll a child at a second location but the certificate shows the first location, you will not be reimbursed. Child assessment, optional. Administer the assessment during the 3 assessment periods. Assess all eligible children ages birth to 5 years who have been enrolled at the provider for at least 60 days. Maintain 75% teacher reliability. Notify the coalition within 5 business days of not meeting this threshold. Return to 75% reliability within 60 days. Providers may choose to conduct child assessments. The only permissible assessment tool is currently Teaching Strategies Gold, TSG. Developmental screenings. These screenings help identify children who may need early intervention. They're a critical part of the SR program. Families are given the first opportunity to complete their children's developmental screening. Coalitions and providers can support families with this process. If parents do not complete the developmental screening, it will be available to you to complete in the provider portal. Please partner with parents throughout this process. Program assessment. Earn a minimum composite score of 4.0. Request another observation at your own expense if you score below 4.0. If your new score is still below 4.0, you might be placed on a Quality Improvement Plan, QIP, if you meet all requirements, or your current contract will be terminated and your eligibility may be revoked. Coalitions observe 50% of classrooms for each care level to determine the composite score. Classrooms are randomly selected. Curriculum is not optional. It ensures children receive consistent, developmentally appropriate instruction. Health and safety compliance is one of the most heavily monitored areas. It's essential for protecting children in your program. Discipline must always be developmentally appropriate and never punitive or harmful. Accurate attendance is directly tied to reimbursement. It must be precise and timely. You're reimbursed based on attendance, eligible absences, and approved rates. There are also additional payments for participation in specific programs. Providers caring for children with special needs may also receive additional payments. Differentials, contracted slots, programs that allow a provider to serve children in a specific location. Special needs requires submission of documentation reflecting A, the need for accommodations based on the special needs diagnosis, and B, completed training for instructional staff assigned to the child with special needs. Gold Seal requires documentation of a current Gold Seal designation from an accrediting agency. Quality Performance Incentive requires a program assessment composite score of 5.0 or higher. Child Assessment requires completion of Teaching Strategies Gold 3 times a year and a submission of child assessment data and teacher reliability documentation. You're required to collect the SR/SR Plus parent copayment identified on the payment certificate. Documenting the receipt of paid copayment is very important. Record maintenance and access to SR Plus records are contractual requirements. Confidentiality is a legal requirement. Your staff must understand and follow these expectations. SR providers must notify coalitions when certain events occur. Event: change in ownership, 30 calendar days prior. Change in contact or program information, ages served, rate changes, operational hours, within 14 calendar days. Child transfers to another location, multiple locations, prior to changing location. Change in insurance, 10 calendar days prior. Changes to information on SR application, within 14 calendar days. Temporary emergency closure, initial, first closure day. Resumption, within 2 business days. Permanent closure, 30 calendar days prior. Dismissal of SR children, within 14 calendar days. Request for second program assessment, within 30 calendar days. Unusual incidents, no later than COB the next day. Written report within 3 business days. Placed on the USDA disqualified list, within 5 calendar days. Convicted of public assistance fraud, within 5 calendar days. Child absences, by the 5th absence day. At-risk children / Ryla Wilson Act, immediately with any unexcused absence. Reimbursement, discrepancy, overpayment, or underpayment, within 60 calendar days. Coalition's responsibilities and monitoring. Provides training and technical assistance, does not require more than what is listed in the contract, monitors for compliance, accesses sites and records during business hours. Noncompliance and corrective action notice. Early Learning Coalition identifies the specific requirements the providers failed to meet, describes in detail the required corrective action, sets a date for completion, informs the provider of its right to request a review. Serious or repeated issues can lead to probation or termination. If you have any questions, please contact the Early Learning Coalition of Brevard County Provider Services Department. Thank you.